Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful people. It's Tuesday. We all survived Monday. And look, we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes because we've got a fair bit to get through this morning. So I just want to jump on and get on with it. Now, it would appear that it's happened. The thing that we've been waiting for, that we kind of knew not so much was going to happen, but it had to happen. And that is that the state will be seeking the death penalty against Bryan Kohberger. Now, I'm not going to go through the documentation itself because I feel that a lot of you will have already seen it. And if you haven't seen it, JB Gunner, he goes over the documentation. So if you want his kind of way of going through it, go and check him out. If you prefer a more kind of legal way, go over and see the sexy man that is Tragus Law over at Lawyer You Know. But yeah, I'm not going to go over the document. We're just going to talk about what it means, you know, what it could mean and what could be the motivation behind it. So let's start with motivation behind it first of all. And I feel, like I say, I don't think this is so much that they even wanted to. I think this is more that they had to. We've heard that definitely one, potentially two of the families, they do want to seek the death penalty. You know, that's what they want. The state doesn't necessarily work on behalf of the families, they work on behalf of themselves. But I think with the heinous nature of the crime, they had no choice because I've touched on this before. It ticks so many of the boxes that they just had to do it. And I think if they hadn't have done it, it would have bolstered the theories behind that perhaps their case is not as watertight as some may believe it is. But does going for the death penalty mean that their case is more watertight? Now, that's not necessarily the case because, again, aforementioned reason being that I don't feel that they had the choice. And this could have perhaps been a little bit of a way to leverage. Now, if Bryan Kohberger doesn't have an alibi, if he genuinely can't prove that he wasn't there or he didn't do the crime and there's no way out of it, and the evidence that is being placed before is quite damning, look, it could be that he is backed into a corner and he has no option but to plead out. Now, obviously, that's an extreme. That is saying that this guy is 100% innocent, but the evidence against him is just so damning he can't escape from it. And again, that is a massive extreme, but it exists. I'm sure that it wouldn't be the first time that someone had been in that similar situation. We've seen situations surrounding the death penalty as well with the Vallow Daybell case, and we saw how that went. So there's a long way to go. Now, does it mean that this case is going to still go ahead in October? I highly doubt that. I highly doubt it, because this is now going to change the dynamic of this trial altogether. First of all, this is now split into two sections, and that is, first of all, they have to determine guilt in the first place. So is this guy guilty of doing what we say he's done? Once that is then determined and he is found guilty, it then goes on to the second part, and that is to determine whether he now faces the death penalty. But this guy's life is on the line. Make no bones about it. This is now going to be, I hope that it makes people understand the importance. You know, I know some people's mentality is an eye for an eye. But look, this isn't as simple as that. This isn't all about an eye for an eye. Yes, the crime itself was truly heinous. Truly heinous. And there deserves to be punishment placed on the person that did this crime. But when you're looking at a death penalty and you're looking at someone losing their life, I think that many things then have to be taken into consideration. We do have to start considering mental health. We do have to start considering mitigating circumstances. I know and I'm going to say this, I know that a lot of people will turn around, especially when mental health is brought into question. Some people's thought process surrounding mental health is that's just an excuse. Some people will they'll just use it as an excuse, like we saw in the Gannon Storch case, against that evil fucker. But let me just say, a lot of you who have been around the channel for a while will understand my mum suffered from mental health issues, and that in the end didn't end well. But throughout that journey, I was attacked by her. I actually have the scars still from the attack. Now, do I think that my mum was an evil person? No, I don't. I think that she was suffering greatly. And some people can suffer greatly, and it can make them do heinous things. We see the same kind of situation in the Nicola Bulley case, where we now know that, yes, Nicola Bulley, it seems that she drowned, but now it's a case of how did she? Was she pushed in the water? Did she fall in the water? Did she intentionally put herself in the water? And some people's argument for her not putting herself in the water is that she had a dog, she had children, and this isn't gonna be something that she would have done. People don't do that. I'm telling you, they do. They do it, and I know, I've seen it firsthand. I've witnessed the willingness and the lengths that someone in a certain state of mind are willing to go. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, they're going to seek the death penalty. Now, does that mean that the way in which things are going to be handled are going to change? Yes, 100% they will. The judge now will have this in the back of his mind throughout the entire proceeding. Everything he has asked, like we've seen the motions to compel and the requesting of specific information, this is now going to put even more pressure on the judge to make a decision on whether the rights of Bryan Kohberger are being affected or being ignored if things are not given to him. And I would imagine that now we will start seeing more stuff trickle through as the prosecution are now forced into giving more. Again, does it mean that we haven't seen a lot? Now, we've always thought, and many people have thought, that there's going to be a lot more evidence out there. There's going to be a lot more things that they know. And this is not checkers. This is chess. So could there be a lot more things? Now, what we've seen come out and what we've heard would allude to the fact they don't have a lot. And in fact, what we've seen is pretty much everything. And do I still think that that's a possibility? Yes, I do. I do still believe that what we've seen is pretty much what they could have. But let's not make no bones about it. That is still quite damning if you can leverage how that works in terms of this case. At the end of the day, if the prosecution can say, we have a sheath with this guy's DNA at the scene, we have his car in an area close to this scene, we have cell phone data that could support the fact that he tried to cover what he was doing and where he was around the same times that these were being committed. It looks bad. And even though we see everything and we hear other stories, we hear all these other things via social media, the hope is that the jury have not been tainted by some of the other things they've heard, but then that would mean that they perhaps haven't heard anything else. So they literally are in there and they just hear the facts and they know the facts. And that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. But look, I think what we have to hold on to now is the hope that, due to the fact that this is now a capital punishment case, that we will see everything that we need to see brought forward in this case. So when a decision is made, people are positive that the outcome was the right one. Like I say, this isn't about getting someone off. This isn't about anything other than complete and utter justice that is deserved. That is absolutely deserved. And at the end of the day is unquestionable as to that outcome and whether that was the right outcome or not. Now, be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts, what you feel. Did you feel that you knew that they were going to go this way? Did you not think they were going to go this way? Do you now feel that because they've gone this way, that it shows that they have a much stronger case than we perhaps feel that they do? Or do you feel that this is perhaps their attempt to leverage and back Bryan Kohberger into a corner in the hope that he will plead out and hide certain things, perhaps some failings or things that they did that they perhaps shouldn't have done to have obtained the results that they got? Again, it'd be interesting to hear your take on it. But like I say, make no bones about it, guy. This guy's life is now on the line. So there is no more excuses for crucifying him, burning him at the stake before he's had his day in court, based on information that you've obtained from the likes of Jennifer Coffin Dodger, Ashley Butfield, Dateline, all these people. It's about really digging deep now and understanding that morality now comes into it. Is it right? Is it just? But that's me done. This is video 1 of 2, only 2 today, and I'll catch you all in the second one.